All right, so look, I want to go ahead and explain this. I ain't never ever talked about this topic, and it's my first live. So look, this is kind of dope, right? So you hear me talking, you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, comprehend that I'm speaking to you, right? But what language am I talking in? See, and when I say that, take a second, actually think, what language am I talking in? I know people can come back and watch this later, but take a second to think about that. English, right? No, I don't speak English. I'm not speaking Latin. Um, the language that we speak has no clear definition or terminology because it's technically not even Ibonics because Ibonics is broken Creole. Um, but yeah, the slang that we speak in America is not English. Britain and England speak English. Okay. Um, the Latin people, the Latin languages, Hispanic, Spanish, Spaniards, Portuguese. Those are all Latin languages. French, Italian, Latin languages. You feel me? The American language is a derivative of English, right? So understand that none of us speak English, and understand that none of us speak Latin. We speak American. The court system speaks Latin. Yeah, it's all. You know what I'm saying? Habeas corpus. You know what I'm saying? Pro bono. Like all their words, their terminologies that they use to describe something when they can't say it in American terminology or don't know how they say it in Latin. You feel me? So like they don't have power over us, jurisdiction or none of that. We are free, fresh flesh and blood entities. We are free bodies. We are willingly able. Wow, big as fuck. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. But yeah, so the court's proceedings, the court's rulings, everything. If you are a natural citizen of the territory that you were born in, like if you was born in Michigan, you are a naturalized citizen of the United States under the corporation of Michigan. You see what I'm saying? Like you are not, you see what I'm saying? You are not an American. Like your name and your social security number and everything is connected to a stock, and everybody know all the rabbit holes with all that shit. But what y'all don't understand is this translates to the court system. So when a judge asks you, "Do you understand her?" She's not asking you, "Do you comprehend the message that she's relaying to you?" She's asking you, "Do you relinquish the power of your sovereignty onto her to allow her to make a judgment upon your life?" And the answer is no. I don't give you permission to make no kind of decree judgment. I don't want none of that. I don't understand what's going on here. No, I don't. I don't understand. I don't. I never will understand what you're talking about because I don't agree with what you're talking. I'm here to defend myself. So how could I understand what's going on if I'm here to defend myself? It's an admission to guilt. See what I'm saying? So anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. And when you get into a court of law, you have to understand that they are using the Black Law Dictionary and the terminologies therein to define certain words. You know what I'm saying? And they might ask you a question that sound like it's English, but it's written in Black Law Dictionary terminology, and every word has a different meaning than what you think it is. And when you answer the question, it's a way of admitting guilt. So with that being said, and somebody taught me this, like that was on their way to prison. But he was like, with that being said, if you don't speak English and you don't speak Latin, how can you understand the court system? Because they don't speak Ibonics and they don't speak American. They speak English and Latin. Know your rights. It save your life. When you go in there expecting a motherfucker to take your case pro bono don't mean for free. It doesn't. You know what I'm saying? When you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a pro and a con of shit. And the con is that pro doesn't mean for. See what I'm saying? A con is a negative thing. It's not something that deceives you. So, pro is something that's positive. An added bonus. There's pros and cons of something. Honestly, if bon voyage means goodbye, right? Pro bono means a free trip to jail. So I'm just using my brain to try to figure it out before I say what I say. So if anybody has any input on it, you can comment, let me know. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the easiest way to get yourself fucked up is by not realizing that one state law applies to all the state's laws. One case in one court in one state, in one town, in one province applies to the entire United States of America. Right? So there's this thing called case study. And case study is literally the ticket and the key to you beating your case. What case study is a log of all of the cases that is related to your charge from all of the states, Supreme Court rulings, things that have been ruled into law and into office and cannot be undone. That means if you got two different murders that happen in two different states, right, with the same reason, same type of weapon, the same scenario and everything, one person got life and the other person got off, right? And you end up in that same scenario. The prosecutor and the DA is going to pull up the case study in which the person got life. It is your job to go and find the one where the person got off. It's called a rebuttal. Hey, when this person did this right here in this state, this judge gave this person life. So you rebuttal. I object. Because when this person did the same thing in this state, this judge granted them judge free time. You know what I'm saying? You got your time. Time served. Go home. So, boom, that negates your extreme. When it come down to stuff like motherfuckers telling you that you facing this amount of time and that amount of time and this amount of time, is a scare tactic. COVID-19, first of all. Second of all, jail reform. Third of all, Supreme Court rulings. If you don't have a violent felony, they can't send you to prison. They can send you to county. They can't send you to prison. Drunk driving, failure to pay child supports, blase split, this, that, and the third. All that's just no longer a thing. People are dying in cells, getting put in cells with murderers, all kind of crazy ass shit. So they like wrote it in. You can't do that no more. So what that means is all of these jails have to be now fixed, cleaned up, new camera systems, blah blah blah, blah all that other crazy ass shit, all the way across America. But for you and me, what that means is they don't have as much control over the American people as they used to have. So they're using deflection and they're using distractions and they're using other techniques like purely just setting people up. You know what I'm saying? They're going into war tactics. They're not playing by politics. They're not playing by policies. They are conducting a war. It has been a war this whole entire time. And when I say people like you and me, I mean people that are our race, our class, our economic status, our social status. You feel me? Because the moment that people wake up and realize that the US dollar is nothing but a fucking piece of paper, right? It's nothing. Dollars ain't shit. Coins are worth everything. You ain't got no coins, you that's how I say get your coins up, stack your coins, chips. Because it's metal. You don't got no precious metal, you don't have no assets. If you don't have no resources, no assets, no resources, you have no wealth, right? So, with that being said, the U.S. economy is only going to last so long, and when it's done, it's done. You feel me? We're gonna have to integrate until the world's economy system, which is silver and gold and copper. And we don't have enough to compete with the rest of the world, if that makes sense. So they trying to use slave labor, the 14th Amendment, the United States 14th Amendment, that says that the only way that they can send you back into slavery is if you are convicted of a felony and sent to prison because prison is a slave yard. Boom. Slave labor generates the most income because you can only make like $2 in a week, 25 cents a day, some shit like that. You really working to facilitate a process that's oppressing people. Jail has never been about reform, social reform, punishing this, that, and the third. It ain't never been about that. It will never be about that. It's always been about slavery. And it will always be about slavery. Repaying a debt to society. But what debt to society? When society owes you a debt, you pay taxes. As long as you pay your taxes, nigga, the whole world owes you, nigga. The fuck? If you pay your taxes, your tax money is going to a corporation who made money to Africans and all these motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? Russians, Chinese folk, and all these peoples that's across the entire United Nations. And I think it's 62 powers that's involved in the United Nations. So when you pay your taxes, it's going to NATO, that's going to the KKK, that's going to everything, the LGBT community, the school systems, everything that you even didn't even know that you supporting by simply paying your taxes. It's the government funded products, the people going to HBCUs, the people going to Ivy League colleges, like everything that goes on in the world, taxes pretty much pay for. So if it's not the taxes, it's like the corporations. And the United States is a corporation, and so is America. America is a corporation. The United States of America is a corporation, and USA is a corporation. So, and the corporation is under the power of the Moroccan Empire. right? So when you talk about wealth and monetary value, and people talk about net worth, and people talk about, you know what I'm saying, what's your estate worth? You see what I'm saying? Michael Jackson's estate. Michael Jackson's estate was literally Michael Jackson's house. His house is what he uses C Corp with. It's what he uses LLC through. Is what he did everything through. You know what I'm saying? He turned his house into an amusement park that generated income so that it paid for it fucking self. He didn't have to do anything else. So Michael Jackson became Michael Jackson's estate by separating himself from his power, becoming a straw man by using a C Corp trust fund and LLC. Bang. Now Michael Jackson is a written name. It's a household name. It's a brand that has been entitled. You know what I'm saying? So once you start getting into corporate laws and penal codes, you become an equal and even greater power than the court system, because once you incorporate yourself into the system is run by the people who run the courts. You had the same amount of power because you incorporated. You joined into the system. You became a diplomat. You're diplomatic in status. You separated yourself from your entity, your flesh and blood entity from your paper man, your straw man. You see what I'm saying? Your paper trail is your paper trail. They can come after that all they want to. They can only hurt your bank and your insurance. They can only touch your insurance. So the corporation is protection. It's protection. If you're not protecting yourself, if you're not paying yourself, if you're not protecting yourself, then you are at liberty of the justice system because they think that you understand your rights and you don't. And they ask you if you understand your rights, and your stupid ass said you did, but you don't. So the suggestion that I was given is the one that I'm gonna give y'all. Go get a Black Law Dictionary. Go get a jailhouse lawyer manual. And then go get the penal codes, the state law, and the federal law. Go get the federal law because the federal law is about the entire nation. Go get the penal code because the penal code extends to the waters, international waters. And go get your states and cities laws because they are all different on the same topic and on the same subject. Which means that if you get arrested in, let's just say you live in a big city like Dallas, Texas, or Detroit, right? I'm gonna go with Texas because I'm not gonna talk about Michigan too much because Michigan wild. But anyway, if you live in Dallas, Texas, right, and you get arrested, Dallas, Texas laws are different from Houston, Texas laws, which is different from Arlington, Texas laws, right? But Texas has a whole nother set of laws that governs over all of Texas. Did you know that there are laws within the specific little cities and towns and ordinances and all kind of shit? Can't chain an alligator to a fire hydrant. You can't leave a baby in a horse-drawn carriage for more than X amount of hours without feeding the horse and the baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's laws that's from way back then that they can't take out. They have been enacted. You can enact another law to reverse that law, but you cannot remove certain things out of the Constitution once it's been added in. So it's another part of the Constitution that's been added in. It says nothing else can be taken out of the Constitution because y'all kept adding and taking shit out and adding shit in, taking shit out and adding shit in and taking shit out. And people was like, well, that's not fair for this reason, so you got to cancel that. Well, if we ain't canceling nothing else. That's what they said. So, boom. Police are public servants. They took a vow to protect taxpaying citizens. But even deeper, they took a vow to protect the public. And if you do not incorporate yourself into the society, you are not a part of the public. You are a private citizen. Actually, I just said that backwards. If you do not incorporate yourself into the privacy, you are a public citizen. You are born a naturalized citizen until you receive a social security card, you become a public citizen. Police take a vow, become a private citizen. Corporations become private citizens. Sovereign citizens become private citizens. You have to file for sovereignty. We are all born with inalienable rights. We are all United States sovereign citizens. We are all flesh and blood governing entities. You cannot take that away from us as an inalienable right. But you have to apply to be set free, if you understand what I'm saying. We are all under slave terms. We are all enslaved. We are all enslaved. Everybody's still enslaved. Slavery is still real. It is still real. When slavery was abolished, they didn't let the slaves go until 65. That shit was signed in the 50s. They didn't release the slaves until the 70s. In the 1800s. And then after they released slaves, they came out with the 14th Amendment that said the only way to be sent back into prison, well, I just said it wrong. The only way to be sent back into slavery was to be found guilty of a felony and sentenced to a prison sentence. Because even back then they had prisons, but slavery and prisons was different until they combined them together when they abolished slavery. And they said, well, this is all about slavery. The only way to send these black folk back to slavery without their will or volition is if we bring them into court and try for a crime. If we find them guilty of a crime, we send them to slavery. We're going to enslave them, make them work for us. And mainly this is to attack people in my color, but they use this system wide against anybody who wasn't smart enough to understand the system. That they don't got no real fucking power or say so in their life and can't tell you what the fuck to do. First and foremost. Second of all, they owe us for all the atrocities they did to our families. Because I don't know about your family, but my family was affected by COVID. My family was affected by, you know what I'm saying, H1N1. My family was affected by avian this and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? When that shit hit and everybody was getting sick from Ebola and all of these crazy ass viruses and shit they keep coming out with. You know what I'm saying? It's lab made and government tested. Nigga, I didn't release that shit into the air. So as far as I'm concerned, y'all owe me. So what the fuck I'm paying taxes for? What you going over there fighting this war for? You need to have everybody in America strapped up. We the soldiers. We the ones got to walk up and down the goddamn street every day. We the ones that if a bomb hit, everybody gonna die. So why y'all taking our guns away? Oh, because the militant soldiers that y'all put out there to fight us getting whacked now? But they kicking in people's front doors, man. Which, you know what I'm saying, y'all could technically go into maritime law and say that the police officers are active soldiers and then be like, boom, under a certain amendment of the Constitution, you technically have to house you have to technically quarter all soldiers. You know what I'm saying? And that's still active. And people don't understand that. So for them to be leaving veterans out in the street homeless and they still have to house, you're supposed to allow them in the house. A lot of veterans on the courtroom floor in the church pews, and you see what I'm saying? They always supposed to have somewhere to go. But they don't when they get out of here because they don't know their rights. Right now, if a United States soldier was to walk to your front door and knock on your door and say, hey, I need somewhere to stay tonight. If you tell them no, you can go to prison for the rest of your life for treason. But you didn't know that. It's shit that's written. You gotta know your rights. You gotta research. At the end of the day, when you sit down and you're looking at a charge and there's words written in there and it's gonna tell you what the, you know what I'm saying? When you go to the definition of it, it's gonna tell you where it hailed from. Oh, this word is Latin. You know what I'm saying? It's a noun. This word means in our terminology, blah 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 blah. Right? So you be like, okay, so this original word is Latin right here, and it means this. And then you go and you pull up an old Colossus, thesaurus, whatever you call that thing, where it take one word and give you the root word of the word, and then it tell you the meaning of the word, right? And it tell you to come from whatever where the word was originally founded and how they used it back then. And then from the English dictionary to the thesaurus or the whatever the fuck the parenthetical reference that you got over here that's telling you, you know what I'm saying, the original terminology of that, and then you go pull up the Black Law Dictionary version of it, and it's gonna be completely different from the first two that you read. It's gonna be completely different from the first two ways that you read it because the third way is what it was manipulated to for the court system. So even the word as simple as understanding has 17 different meanings, and you don't understand the word understand. So you can't admit to anything. You can't say that you're guilty of anything because how could I be guilty of something that I don't know? You can't blame me for something that I do not know, that I'm not aware of, something that I just don't understand. I don't know. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking? What? I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Call me stupid, call me genius. But at the end of the day, I'm free. Know your motherfucking rights. You could be like me. Not for real. Know your rights though. Knowledge is power. Each one teach one. Bless up, grand rising. Y'all have a glorious day. It's your boy, Black Spitter. Let's get it.